Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For a radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also joining us online worldwide via our podcast at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. We're glad you all could be with us as well. This is part of our Music and News segment here at WYAD, and of course we're continuing our back-to-school tips for you. As families get ready for the new school year, there's an important yet often overlooked aspect of preparation that deserves our attention. We're talking about child wellness visits. Here to talk to us more about the importance of those, we're excited to welcome Dr. Arethusa Kirk to our broadcast. She's joining us from the United Healthcare Community Plan. She's going to talk to us also where you guys can go for more information as well. Dr. Kirk, thank you again for stopping by. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks, Cyrus. Thanks for hosting me.
Well, this is important. We always appreciate when United Healthcare comes on to share information with our audience. So when it comes to children's health and wellness, Dr. Kirk, what do parents need to be thinking about this school year?
Well, as we're doing back-to-school shopping and supplies, it's a great time for parents and caregivers to really think about supporting the physical, mental, and social well-being of their children. And this includes scheduling their regular wellness checks for their children as well as sports physicals, because it ensures that they stay on track for their screenings, tests, immunizations, and really focus on their development and early intervention.
It's a great tip for our audience. So do you have any tips to help parents and caregivers prepare for those appointments then?
Absolutely. Well, it's important to understand that the field of pediatrics is fundamentally about prevention and early intervention. So there's three things to keep in mind. First is to really understand the schedule of wellness visits for your child through infancy and adolescence. The second is to understand the tests, labs, and immunizations for each one of those visits. And the third is really just be ready for dialogue. Make sure that you're writing down your questions ahead of time or thinking through the questions that you may have. In terms of schedule, for infancy through 15 months of age, there's actually 8 visits that are recommended. And by the time you turn 3, there should be some annual visits that are recommended all the way through the age of 21 and on to adulthood. So that's the first thing to understand. The second is in terms of screenings or tests. Screenings such as lead screening and then eventually lead labs will help us understand if there's been lead exposure. And then things like our immunizations. So there's a number of immunizations that help prevent disease for infancy and adulthood. And there's annual vaccines like the flu vaccine that are recommended.
Well, that's great to think about, especially when you're talking about writing down those questions and anything that they may want to ask. That's a great tip for our audience to keep in mind. So, Dr. Kirk, if our audience is listening to this and they're curious about, their children as maybe they have gone and had their wellness visits in the past, what should parents expect from wellness visits as their children age?
Well, as their children age, the schedule spaces out, but it's still important. So as I mentioned, you still need an annual wellness check and oftentimes a sports physical, and those can sometimes be two different things. Prevention is very important in terms of early detection and intervention. There are things like blood pressure, vision, other developmental screenings that are important. And oftentimes the immunizations will space out, but there are still very important adolescent immunizations and annual immunizations like the flu vaccine.
Great information for our audience as they're thinking about the new school year to make sure that they are making those child wellness visits a priority. Again, everyone, Dr. Arethusa Kirk has been our guest. She's joining us from United Healthcare Community Plan, talking with us about the importance of those health and wellness checks and why you should make sure you're keeping up with those as your children age. So, Dr. Kirk, where can our audience go for more information?
Well, if you're a United Healthcare Community Plan member, you may have access to our Healthy First Steps program, which can help you find a care provider and other information. But we also have a great website at uhc.com/children's wellness, where you can download information, learn about well-child visits and immunizations and other things.
All right. We'll make sure that we link that up as well. Dr. Kirk, thank you again for stopping by. I really appreciate the time and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you, Cyrus. Take care.
And thank you as well. We thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, part of our Music and News segment here at WYAD. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Then let's go make today amazing. Take care.